morning, VP nerds. Dark Ramos here with the volume profile nerd, and I'll jump into the morning prep for Wednesday, May 24th, 2023. Today will be all about if we can fill the gap or not. So fairly kind of straightforward in a way morning rundown, and I'll just quickly go over it. So essentially we're gapping down today, and it'll be all about the gap fill today. If we don't get any gap fill, or if we fill the gap and don't get acceptance above it and then get below the overnight low, it could be a gap and go scenario. Or if we just, aggressively go right off the gate, could be a gap and go type of day, because sellers are pretty much in control here, and we're not. We're kind of out of balance, but anyway, it's a gap down. So when there's gap downs, if there's any gap fill, that's what we look for initially. And if there's no gap fill, we usually want to go with the gap if there's no gap fill after that. That's on both ES and NQ. I'll just adjust the overnight low here, right here. And NQ, same deal. We have a gap down open. It'll be all about the gap fill. So go with gaps that don't fill right away, and how much gap fill there is, if any at all, will be telling. All right. So that's pretty much what we got for today. Goal for buyers on both indices is to, first fill the gap and then find acceptance above the regular trading hours low. After that, it'll be the previous day close, then the value area low, which is close to the overnight high. So I'm kind of grouping those together a little bit, because buyers want acceptance above the overnight high to convincingly get back into yesterday's value. So this value area low and overnight high will be a key reference, for sellers to try and hold. If they don't, buyers will try to get back into yesterday's value to negate sellers from building value lower. If back into yesterday's value, eyes on the POC. And after that, we have the value area high and the regular trading hours high, which are relatively close to each other. So I'm kind of grouping those as well. So day plus buyers do want acceptance above the regular trading hours high. No change for day plus buyers without getting, above the regular trading hours high. And goal for sellers is for minimal gap fill and below the overnight low. No change for day plus sellers without getting acceptance under the overnight low, because cash market sellers want to affirm the overnight sellers for conviction that we could continue to press the issue. And any failures at these levels, failures at the RTHL, back to the overnight low. It could be back to the overnight low. Previous day close could be back to the regular trading hours low. Failure at the overnight high, value area low, could be back to the previous day close. Failure at the POC could be back to the overnight high, value area low. Failure at the RTH high and the value area high could be back to the POC here. But these are relatively close to each other, just a few points away. So, buyers essentially want acceptance over all three of these levels, for day plus buyers to have, confidence on the day time frame for change on the daily, essentially. So that's what I'm looking at on ES. NQ is very similar. Buyers want first to get the gap fill, then want acceptance above the regular trading hours low. After that is the previous day close, then the value area low and the overnight low, which are close to each other. So buyers want acceptance above the overnight low to convincingly get back into yesterday's value. After that, it's yesterday's POC. And if acceptance above yesterday's POC, eyes on the regular trading hours high and the value area high. No change for day plus buyers without acceptance above the regular trading hours high. So day plus buyers ideally want above all three of these levels up here. And any failures at these points, we're looking at the previous reference. RTH low, back to the overnight low, previous day close, back to the regular trading hours low, value area low, could be back to the previous day close if we fail there. Failure at the POC could be back to the value area low and overnight low. Failure at the regular trading hours high, value area high, could be back to the POC. Cool. So no change for day plus buyers without getting acceptance above the regular trading hours high. Goal for sellers is for minimal gap fill and to go, for a gap and go situation, and find acceptance under the overnight low. No change for day plus sellers without acceptance under the overnight low, as cash market sellers want to affirm the overnight sellers for conviction that we could press the issue. All right, so very similar on both indices, not gleaning too much from relative strength and weakness. Looks like NQ is relatively weaker than ES. Regular trading hours low. Yeah, but they're both under the regular trading hours low, so both have kind of a gap and go scenario going on here. So that's what I'm looking at on, for the day time frame references. So essentially, sellers are still, I would say, okay if under yesterday's value area low and overnight high. And overnight inventory is fairly short on both indices, with most of the overnight inventory occurring below the settle. We did kind of go sideways initially, but then we had, most of the overnight inventory is below the settle. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we had some overnight inventory correction, but just keeping an eye on that. If sellers aren't too aggressive first thing in the morning, I wouldn't be surprised with a little bit of overnight inventory correction. So that's what I'm looking at for that. Let's go to ES on the daily. So ES on the daily, so I've marked up a few kind of new ranges here. We have this recent sideways range. We're currently finding acceptance under the POC of this range. So this is from May 5th through May 17th. And we're currently under the POC, so sellers should be targeting the value area low here at roughly 412575. If we don't get acceptance below this POC, eyes on the value area high of this range at roughly 415250. It's a little bit clearer. That range is a little bit more clear here on my kind of freestyle chart, which is this hourly range right here. And essentially, we're at the POC. So I think I might reference this a bit more because it's just a little bit more detailed. And we can see we're currently at the POC of this sideways structure, whereas on the daily it shows we're kind of a little bit below it. So I'll be using the hourlies here for this sideways structure because I think it's telling a good story. Buyers want the value area high here at roughly 415325, which is similar. I think it said 415250 with the daily structure. So those levels are fairly similar there. It's just a little bit different going from the daily. Currently on the hourly, if I go to the hourly, which is a little bit more detailed, we're at the POC. So I'm going to use the hourly chart for this recent structure just because we had this big daily candle and that's kind of throwing the sideways structure off a bit. So going to be using this hourly for clarity on this recent kind of sideways structure from May 5th through May 17th. And that's the beauty of kind of VP. You can kind of zoom in to get more details on the structure. So I'll be doing that with ES there. Cool. And if we get above the POC, I'm going to keep an eye on that value area high if we don't find acceptance below that POC. On the hourly, let me bring up the day time frame references here. On the hourly, so the overnight low is currently at the POC of this. I'm going to start putting my dates on the left here. Nope, that still doesn't help too much. Maybe the middle, center. This 5/8/23, 5/9/23 structure. I might do it in the middle. That's not too bad. We're currently at that POC, which is making the overnight low. So essentially, if above this range, I'm keeping an eye on the value area low of this 5/5/5/8/23 range right here. And buyers want convincingly above this POC to target the regular trading hours low up here. And then we want convincingly above this range to get back into yesterday's range. And then we would want to get convincingly into this range to get back into yesterday's value, or to get above the overnight high here and get more convincingly into yesterday's value. So the overnight high pretty much, is the value area low here of this this 419.23 range. We can see we rejected right off of it in yesterday's session. We rejected twice in the overnight session and in the twice in the overnight session. So yeah, if we get above this range, goal for buyers should be this value area low here. And if back into this range, that means we're getting acceptance back into the yesterday's value and back above the overnight high. And then then we have some upper references. But for me, first thing is if buyers can get back above this range to then target this range, and I'll be looking at some upside references. If we get above this range, then eyes on the value area low of this range, then the POC. But buyers would need convincingly above this range and back into this range to get above the regular trading hours high. Essentially, buyers would need to tag this POC up here to get above yesterday's regular trading hours high, which is a tall order, but just something I'm looking at. If we get below this POC and sellers press the issue, next target is the value area low here of this range for sellers on the hourly. And if below this, then I might be a bit more aggressive, looking to get to this value area high of this 4.523, 4.623 range down here, which is at 4.118. But if below this POC, buyers still could hold the value area low of the range at 4.134 right here. Yeah, right here. All right. If buyers get above this range, we do have a few points to get to the value area low, so that could be something I'll be keeping an eye on. Okay, so that's what we got for ES. For NQ, if we go to the daily, I went over the day time frame references on NQ. For NQ, sellers should be targeting this POC here of this 8.322, 8.1122 range at roughly 13,600.25. It'll be notable to me if sellers don't get there. If they don't get there, sellers don't get there, they'll want to hold this value area low of this 3.722, 3.1622 range, which is right here, to target the value area high of this 8.322, 8.1122 range. And we can see in yesterday's session, we literally back tested off the value area high of the 8.322, 8.1122 range. So if we don't get to the POC and get back into here and do something like this, I'll be looking at the value area high of 8.3, 8.1122 at roughly 13,753. And if above that, something like this, I'm going to keep an eye on the POC at 13,940. But yeah, first we'll be looking for sellers to get down here. We do have this kind of recent hourly structure that I think buyers are holding at the moment. And let's go ahead and jump into the hourly structure. So I have a new one here, this hourly structure right here, and a new one kind of up here. Let me grab the day time frame references for a bit more confluence. And I'll grab it here. Essentially the overnight low, let me adjust the day time frame reference here because we're going a little bit lower. Here we go. So essentially, the overnight low, we're approaching the value area low of this recent structure from May 17th through May 18th. So buyers would want to hold this value area low here. If they don't, eyes on the POC of this 8.3, 8.922 range, which it goes way back. I think I removed the the value area because it's a bit wide. And essentially, if we get back below here, I'm going to keep an eye on this POC. And if below this POC, I'm going to look at the value area high of this range, or this is kind of a newer structure that I might draw up here, but it's from May 16th through May 17th. And I'll be looking at the value area high here at roughly 13,541.25. So I'll update this in a sec. And so buyers want to hold this value area low here to try to get to this POC and then to this value area high. And if above this range, so let me put the day time frame references. If above this range, we're looking at the value area low of this this 8.19 range right here. yeah, right here. So we'll be looking at that. And buyers want convincingly, essentially buyers want convincingly above this 819 structure and this recent little structure here from 523, 524 to convincingly get back into yesterday's value and the overnight high. So the overnight high and yesterday's value area low is right here. So yeah, buyers want essentially above these two ranges to head to the value area low here and get back into yesterday's value. The regular trading hours high, value area high, and POC are roughly around yesterday's morning balance. So this was the balance from yesterday morning, this little range here. So if we get above that, then I'll be keeping my eye on the value area high of 817, 818 at roughly 13,886.50, which is just a little bit above the regular trading hours high. So yeah, we do need to get above yesterday's morning balance for buyers to try to target this and to convincingly get back above yesterday's regular trading hours high, which I think is a bit of a tall order, but we shall see. I'm just keeping an eye out in case that's a possible scenario. I think, yeah, buyers would have to do a lot to do that. But first, going to keep my eye on these ranges. If buyers can't get acceptance above this, then I'll be looking at some lower targets. But, potential for buyers to hold this value area low, maybe oscillate a bit here, maybe try this, maybe try this. So I'm keeping an open mind because it could be a gap and hold day as well. If sellers don't press the issue, but buyers aren't convincingly getting above these ranges, then I'm going to keep an open mind for a gap and hold type of day. And similar with ES, we got a couple of ranges here, so if we gap and hold, I'm not going to be too surprised. Yeah, if we gap and hold under, let's say, the regular trading hours low or the previous day close and don't get convincingly above some of these hourly ranges, then that's a possible scenario I'll be keeping an eye on. So if we don't get below this or we don't get above this, then I'll be looking at that. I want sellers to convincingly get below this or buyers to convincingly get above this for conviction. And on ES, I want buyers to get convincingly above this and sellers to get convincingly below this. Otherwise, it could just oscillate. But yeah, gonna keep an open mind and just look for what buyers are proving, what sellers are proving, and make kind of decisions and plays based off of that. So that's what I got for today's morning prep. Let's do a quick sector rundown. Look at the sector. So SPY, gap down open. But I just noticed this. So this POC could be a target here for SPY at 41158. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. It's just a daily POC. QQQ, gap down open. Next range below is at roughly 325.59. We'll see if sellers get there. That could be interesting. Going to keep an eye on that. XLF, kind of below a daily POC, gap down open. Sellers could be targeting, sellers could be targeting this value area low here at roughly 31.88. IWM, gap down open, looking at this POC here, 173.72. If buyers find acceptance above this value area high, eyes on the value area low here of this next daily range at 179.85. But yeah, plenty of space for hourly lower highs. So, if we do get above the range, maybe we do something like this for IWM. XLE showing relative strength kind of in the middle of its range and above like a daily structure. And we're getting back into this daily structure. So maybe XLE is looking at this POC up here. We shall see. But XLE showing some relative strength. XBI, gap down open. Sellers should be looking for this value area high here at 80, roughly 85.99 or 86 psychological. And it'll be notable if sellers don't get that, but we do have plenty of space for an hourly lower high. If back into this daily range, then buyers should be targeting the POC up here at roughly 88.82. So that's XBI, XLV, and XBI, yeah, gap down open. XLV, gap down open. Yeah, notable weakness, or yeah, from yesterday, yeah, gap down open. Plenty of space for an hourly lower high. Next range I'm thinking sellers want to get to is this one down here at roughly 127.82. And it'll be notable to me if sellers don't get there. But I think given this gap here in between these ranges, I wouldn't be surprised if XLV does get there. So yeah, so XLF with some space to get to this value area low, and XLV with space to get to the value area high of this daily range down here at 127.82, and QQQ with space to get to its daily range down here. Kind of, we have this bit of a gap. I'm starting to look a little more aggressive short. So what that would look like for me on the hourly is NQ finding acceptance below this range, maybe holding this POC, and I would look for maybe a back test here to try to get to the value area high of this range here at 13.534. Just piecing that together right now, just a possible scenario if all our sectors start pulling back first thing on the morning. That is a possible scenario I am looking at. So XLV and even SPY does have this POC, so we'll see. Yeah, but maybe we get back to the lower end of value here at 410.70 there. Okay, XLV, went over that. XLU, below this daily POC, plenty of space for an hourly lower high. Sellers should be targeting this value area low here at 64.99 or 65 psychological. We're under the POC here of 65.92, but sellers are a little bit stronger than other or buyers are a little bit stronger holding the low of yesterday, but plenty of space for an hourly lower high if we do that to then try to maybe target this value area low here. SMH, wow, weakest sector. Yeah, definitely the weaker sector today, but we are right at this value area high in pre-market. So if buyers hold here, potential for buyers to get back to the value area low of this range here at roughly 132.05, and yeah, potential to do maybe something like this. But we'll keep an eye on that. That's a good distance from here. So, but we do have space for hourly lower high. So if we do get there, potential for this. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'll quickly go over tech, and I'll try to just be a little bit quick here. Apple gap down open. Buyers should be looking for this POC here at 169.60. Plenty of space for hourly lower high. So if no acceptance back into this range, potential for buyers to do something like this. Try to target the value area low here of this range above here. Okay. So Apple gap down open. Amazon, relative strength, hold kind of in the middle of its range from yesterday. Sellers either try for this POC, or buyers try to get back up to this value area high at 118.26, and the POC is at 113.91. All right, so Amazon showing a bit of relative strength. Netflix showing some relative, relative to NQ, it's just as weak. It's under its low of yesterday, or testing kind of its low of yesterday from the underside. We are holding this daily value area low. If a hold here, buyers should be looking for this POC, but we do have space for hourly lower highs. If a bounce up to there, buyers would be looking for an hourly higher low to maybe tag this value area high here at roughly 36621. I might just use rough estimates here, so I don't have to switch between the brush tool and things like that. If below this value area low, eyes on the value area high of this next range at roughly 34605. There. Google gap down open. We're getting back into this daily range here. Eyes on the POC at 120.68. If no acceptance, back into this range. Space for hourly lower highs, and maybe we get back up to this value area low here at roughly 125.17. But yeah, Google with a gap down open. Microsoft gap down open. At the POC of this daily range, if hold and acceptance above the value area high, potentially getting to the value area low here at roughly 32235. If below this POC, eyes on the value area low here at roughly 30928. Gap down open, plenty of space for hourly lower highs. Meta, gap down open, looking at the value area high here of this range at roughly 241.56. Plenty of space for hourly lower highs. So maybe we do something like this first. But yeah, Meta relatively weaker. So we'll be keeping an eye on this value area high here. Yeah, 241. Yeah, kind of 50, 241.53. Tesla, we're at the value area low of this range, but gap down open, so relatively weak with a lot of other tech names. I am keeping an eye on this POC at 180.02 if sellers get below this value area low. Plenty of space for hourly lower highs. If we hold this value area low, to maybe do something like this, get to the value area high and then lower, or get to the POC here at 185.02 and then try for this POC here at 180.02 if getting below this value area low. NVDA, yeah, and Tesla, if we hold this, that could be a good look for Tesla for an hourly bounce to at least get to this POC and maybe get to this hourly pivot, which is the value area high here of this range, which I'm thinking could happen if no acceptance below this value area low. We could pivot to up here at roughly 187.40. NVDA, so NVDA back into this daily range right here. So I'm keeping my eye on this POC here at 297.13. Space for hourly lower highs, so I wouldn't count out if maybe we bounce to the value area high to try to see if we can get above it. And then if we don't, eyes on the POC at 297.13. If back above the value area high, eyes on the value area low of this daily range at 1317.56. But if no acceptance above here, eyes on the POC at 297.13. If we try something like this. So this is all I'm keeping an eye on. I got some hourly pivots too that I think buyers would need to get above. But basically if NVDA gets above this and then we back test some hourly pivots for an hourly, if we get a big enough bounce to then maybe set an hourly higher low like this, that would be a bit more convincing. But if we reject from here initially, then I'm keeping an eye on this POC here at 297.13. It'll all be based on what the broader market's doing and how tech is doing. But yeah, that's all I got this morning. That's my morning prep. And we'll be looking at XLF and XLV closely to see if they target some daily ranges below. And if NQ does the same, then I'll be looking at some lower targets for NQ also. And right now NQ is relatively weaker, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. And yeah, we'll be watching relative strength and weakness. All right, yeah, I think that's all I got for today. We'll see if we get more follow through on the daily consolidation, or if buyers are eager to buy the dip. But yeah, that's what I'm going to keep in mind today. With the gap down open, could be about the gap and go scenario. Right now it's shaping up to be a little bit of a bigger gap down open, which the bigger the gap, sometimes the harder it is to fill. Right now we're about 15 handles below the regular trading hours low, which is a notable gap down on ES, and on NQ we're about we're definitely, that's definitely a convincing gap down. We're about 70 handles 70 handles on NQ for this gap down. So pretty convincing gap down. We shall see what buyers can shape up if they go for the gap fill, or if sellers continue to press the issue and it's a gap and go situation. All right, so that's all I got for today. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the trade review a little bit later today. Thank you.